5 things that I think will make Battlefield 1 a better game. DICE have created the best Battlefield game since the Bad Company series, in my opinion. Gameplay-wise, it's really enjoyable, and for me it gives me that zingy feeling when you land kills that's not been there for a really long time. But I think there's always room for improvement in other areas. Nothing is ever truly perfect, and neither is Battlefield 1, and DICE could make a few changes to improve the game experience as a whole and make everything feel a little bit richer. I'm aware that some of these suggestions might be a little bit hard to implement into Battlefield 1, as some of them do require a fairly big change, but I think DICE deserve raw, honest, constructive feedback. I'm going to present some areas that need work and then offer my own solution. Let me know if you agree with this stuff down in the comments, or if you've got any of your own suggestions, make sure you tell me down there as well. I can pin comments now, so I can highlight some of the best ones. Let's get creative and tell DICE what they can do to improve this already very good game. So number 1, DICE. Where's my test range? I want to test out some of these weapons you're letting me use in a closed environment, rather than sitting in spawn in a multiplayer match, messing around and letting my team down. This was a big thing in Battlefield 4, and a lot of people like to use the target range in there to check out new weapons they've unlocked. They like to use it to learn how to fly or use vehicles, get used to the controls, and generally get a better feel for the stuff that they'll be using in live servers. Not only that, but some of the pickup weapons were available in there as well. Weapons you might not be likely to come across in every server, but ones you will get to use at some point. Knowing those weapons and how they perform means you can just pick it up and go, and not run around like an idiot in a live server with an extremely powerful weapon not using it effectively. How about a behind-the-lines headquarters placement full of canvas tents, ammunition shells, and weaponry? There's a firing range there with a gun crate, where you can select any weapon from a pop-up menu and try it out on some targets that have been set up. There's a runway there as well, with different types of planes for you to use, and armoured vehicles like tanks, all lined up, ready to be taken out for a spin. And all of this in the name of giving the player some practice. Why not even throw some trials in there as well? Run around an assault course made up of trench networks. You need to shoot at specific targets to progress. Get your name on a global leaderboard and try and beat the best players out there. Something cool I think people might appreciate alongside just a single player test range. We have seen a couple of shots here recently from a video from Battlefest that kind of look test rangey, showing off some weapons and the camos you can equip. Whether that's an in-game environment or just a static mock-up, I'm not sure, but a test range is definitely something I'd be happy to see added into Battlefield 1. Number 2. Bring back the old medal system from previous Battlefield games. In the beginning, when the idea for the medal system in Battlefield 1 was first spoken about, I actually liked the idea. Tracking one in-game and then working towards each stage seemed like a good way to focus your gameplay around a certain style, work on that to achieve extra XP, and have some good progression in there as well. Turns out the system in practice is really not as good as I thought it was. Most of the medals don't directly encourage you to PTFO and can actually be counterproductive to the gameplay for your team. Not only that, but this new medal system almost feels like a forced progression barrier, where it's just been put in to limit to one medal at a time because there's not much more progression beyond the medals and the standard weapon unlocks. Now, I can understand the decision taken to do that, to provide the player with what feels like a more robust progression system, but locking away certain medals each week and only presenting 5 to work on, so you always feel like there's something new coming, in practice, just feels like an attempt to disguise the lack of progression and content within that system. It feels very weak. The older system in Battlefield 4, where you work towards all of the medals at once, for me was much nicer. Seeing that medic medal pop up at a certain point because I'd achieved the right number of heals was a great reminder to me that I was simply being a good medic, and I got rewarded for that. This new system, where only one medal can be tracked and has to be chosen by the player, feels like the game is holding my hand and giving me a constant reminder that I'm doing a good job. It feels like the game is trying to force me into playing it how it wants to be played, or how the developers want me to play it, not the way the player, me, wants to play it. If I was working towards all the medals at once, the game would track certain functions like all my revives and heals as a medic and give me a reward. It wouldn't have to track the air vehicle medals because I don't play in air vehicles, and nor do I really want to. I want to play the game my way, and if I'm doing a good job, PTFOing and helping out my team, the game should tell me that. The game shouldn't tell me what it thinks is a good job and then make me play that way. It's a very subtle difference, but I do think it is fairly substantial in Battlefield 1. And on top of that, while we're talking about the old medal system, ribbons have been completely removed from Battlefield 1. If you don't know what ribbons are, in older games, they were the lower level of the medals, basically, and a certain amount of ribbons was needed to achieve a medal. For example, I think 7 revives in Battlefield 4 equaled a revive ribbon, and I believe 50 revive ribbons equaled a revive medal. It's a simple system and a good reward. I know I'm a good medic because I'm reviving people, and I got a ribbon for it. I know I'm a properly good medic because I just got a medal for collecting enough ribbons. Now, adding ribbons back into Battlefield 1 would create a proper layer of progression, one further than what we already have. One where you achieve a proper reward for your work, unlike the current system where the game simply holds your hand and tells you what to do. I'd remove the current medal system, re-implement the old one, and just simply be done with it. The older one for me was much better, it was more plentiful, and it provided a better layer of persistence for me over what has to be chosen in Battlefield 1. Number 3, fix the leaking gas. Now, this is much smaller of a topic than the last two, but I think it's really important because it could actually solve what I think is the gas problem in Battlefield 1. I'm not sure you've encountered this, but I'm pretty sure I have. The gas grenades leak through solid objects. Like, if I'm sitting upstairs in a house and I chuck a grenade down the stairs, the gas cloud that's created leaks through the floor above it and starts to deal damage against me. This is something that's really, really annoying, and sometimes has even got me killed because I'm on low health and I currently don't have my gas mask on. Grenade blasts on the other side of walls don't hit me, and the flame from incendiaries doesn't set me on fire through the ceiling either. So why does the gas do it? I think if you fix this problem, a lot of people would have less of an issue with the gas grenades because they'd be safe in the next room and they've just thrown a grenade in the other one. They wouldn't have to wear their gas mask all the time because that's kind of what it feels like for me at the moment. I have to wear it more often in close quarters than not having to wear it at all. And gas in general, I feel like the amount of gas grenades you have should be reduced from 2 to 1 to balance it out against the others. I've now moved permanently to the incendiary grenade, which can be just as effective as the gas grenade, but more out of annoyance than anything. I didn't want to add to the gas infestation that Battlefield 1 seems to have, and I'd like to play it with my gas mask off from time to time. DICE, reduce the gas and plug those leaks. It's getting a little bit annoying, but if you do those two things, I think you'll save a lot of bother for yourself. Number 4, back to suggestions that I think could improve Battlefield 1 that aren't currently in the game. How about a cool Armory in Battlefield 1 to replace the rather formal menu system that DICE currently has for showing off all your customization options? For me, that feels a little bit bland, and some of the assets in Battlefield 1 are really, really cool. A place to look at all of your skins that you've got from battle packs on your weapons, maybe with them mounted up on the wall or something. A place where you can inspect those weapons in high resolution detail. Maybe you select one, a render of the weapon comes in, a bit like it does in the loadout screen in multiplayer, but with the ability to move the weapon around, maybe change the lighting a bit, and see how it looks. Even zoom in on the weapon and look at the grain of the wooden stock. With a game that is as beautiful as Battlefield 1, I cannot believe something like this hasn't already been added. I mean, in Battlefield 4, in the loadout screen, you could zoom in on your weapon and have a look at it and look at all the different aspects of the weapon. Why can't we do that in Battlefield 1? The current system to inspect weapons is a little bit underwhelming. You have to go into the battle pack menu, into the inventory, click on the skin that you want, and then click inspect. And it just comes up with the skin with a flash of light over it. It's not very big, it's not very bold, and it just doesn't really feel very awesome. If it's a legendary skin, reinforce to me that it is a legendary skin and let me see it in really good detail. How about a medal holder as well, up on the wall, showing entries for all of the medals that you've completed in Battlefield 1. Get them proudly stuck up there for you to inspect and then see the blank spaces where other medals should be sitting if you'd achieve them. Seeing them all visually in a themed way, for me, would make me more motivated to go out into the servers and fill those gaps and achieve those medals. And even going one step further, what about a small wooden crate stuffed full of the dog tags that you've unlocked in the game? Made to seem like they're the tags that you took from your enemies in battle and kept them as your own personal prize. For me, seeing all of this cool stuff in a more interactive way would make me much more likely to want to go out there and earn more stuff. When it's all laid out in, no offense here Eric if you're watching, very boring menus, I've got no get up and go attitude to really start achieving any more. When it's laid out visually in a proper collection, I think lots of people will want to go out there and complete that. And finally, number 5, give us some proper soldier customization. Let us unlock cool helmets for the different soldiers, slightly different uniforms, different boots. The possibilities are basically endless. Right now, beyond the weapon skins, there aren't many ways to really distinguish yourself on the battlefield. And DICE could do something awesome and integrate some of that soldier customization into the leveling system to give players more to aim for. I've got over 9,000 war bonds just sitting there unused because I've got nothing else to buy or nothing else that I want to buy. What am I going to do with those? They're just sitting there screaming out to be spent on a war-torn shirt covered in bloodstains for the British assault soldier. It really, really wants to be spent on a medal placement on the soldier's breast where I can show off one of my unlocked medals in the server that I'm playing on. And it could really be exchanged for a cool set of sideburns on the German scout. He's a bit of a hipster at heart, and mutton chops are his thing. DICE, there's so much you could do, and there's so much you can explore here, and right now it's just not being tapped into. I really think you've missed a trick, but you've still got the opportunity to implement something awesome, and I think people out there will go nuts for it. Battlefield 1 is an awesome game, gameplay-wise, but I feel it's really lacking when it comes to progression, player customization, and a sense of achievement. Making more things interactive, more alive, more real will go a long way with players and keep them fully engaged with the game moving forward. I think the weapon skin system, although the way it's distributed is very, very unfair at the moment, the weapon skins are a step in the right direction, but it needs to be improved upon that, and more things need to be added to really flesh out the experience. Games are becoming more and more about the pure player experience and how that can be customized to make the game feel your own. And Battlefield 1 has so much potential to be a leading light in that area. It just needs some hard work. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. If you liked the video, make sure you leave a like, and if you didn't, dislike the video and tell me why in the comments. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.